Greetings, everyone. We just now finished another call with the Ambassador Nyalandu, the presidential advisor to the president of Tanzania, and Pastor Mark Burns, the spiritual advisor to President Donald Trump, regarding the case of sexually abused children in Tanzania and the individual from Czech Republic, Jakub Jahl. So, Pastor Burns, I would like to ask you a question. So, what kind of updates we have right now regarding this case?
Well, Valerie, first of all, it was a very good call. Thank to you and Electra, the wonderful volunteers, and all of you guys around the world for doing the fighting for the voiceless. And that's what spiritual diplomacy really is. And it just blesses my heart to see how much work and effort you all are putting in for the voiceless, people that you may never have ever known. Having said that, this is a very good call today with the ambassador. Very good call. He assured me that the Tanzania government is still very much involved. This is still a high-level case to them, that the president of Tanzania has been looped in, and the attorney general, as we said before, has been looped in. Now we are discovering the ambassador has offered to set the next call directly with the attorney general. And so we'll be set up a meeting with him and the attorney general and his office to make sure that we get an understanding as when and if and when he is going to be formally charged. As I've had many other high-level meetings around the world, especially in Europe, I've spoken with several high-level leaders in Europe, and they're all in agreement that they don't want to see this to go unpunished. But we're waiting for an official charge from the Tanzania government. He may have already been charged. Let me be clear. The ambassador said he's checking himself to see there may already be a formal charge, but he's going to loop us in with the attorney general themselves, and so that we can begin to directly communicate with him and his team to make sure that this deed goes unpunished. And I assured him that this is something that's very dear to our First Lady here in the United States of America. She so loves children, and she's so fighting for the voiceless, First Lady Melania, and so many people around the world are fighting for these children who have been abandoned, abused, sexually assaulted, and they represent a small percentage of children that this is happening to around the world. It is a global issue. And so we're doing everything in our light to draw a light to this and to bring those who are guilty to light. The same goes with Epstein, how the Epstein case has blown up, and people were calling the alarm or sounding the alarm years ago about Epstein and the island and the children. People were screaming from the mountaintop, and those people were called crazy, but now it's come out to be very much true. And that these victims are now coming out and they're speaking out, and the world is behind the Epstein type individuals that are abusing children, abusing women, sexually assaulting them, and thinking that they're going to get away with it. But this is a real loud cry, Valerie. I want to be very clear about this. This is a huge statement for every anti-occultist that is out there, that whole organization that has been hiding or masking or protecting individuals who have broken the law. If you have broken the law, regardless of what status that you're in, whether you're in government, whether you're a blogger, whether you're a reporter, whatever status or position you're in, if you're anti-cultist and you've broken the law, this is a sign to you that justice will be made. And people like us will not stop until we see you behind bars and see you paying for the crimes that you have done. So let this be served as a notice that we're not stopping. This case is heating up. And this is a clear sign that we're dealing with people at the highest level of government from across the world that are now involved. And they're talking about these Tanzania children that was sexually assaulted. And there's too much case. Marquetta and the team, they did such a great job in that documentary, and they're still following up even now, gathering as much evidence, communicating with the police stations, communicating with the detectives. And so this is a notice to everyone that may see this. This case is not going away. It is heating up. And now that we're going to be speaking directly with the Attorney General's office to make sure that we continue to get an official charge. So once the official charge happens, things move a lot quicker from around the world. And so this is a notice to every anti-cultist who's a part of that movement, that again, if you broken the law, you will not be protected and no longer. They will be judged by God. There is a judgment that's coming. People may believe that they have escaped, but there's a judgment. There's a biblical judgment that is coming to all that does harm. And you may thought you've gotten away with it, but you haven't. Ultimately, God will judge you, and society will judge you, and hopefully we'll see you behind bars.
Thank you so much, Pastor Burns. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for the spiritual diplomacy that is taking action right now, right at this moment, and really staying for the human rights, for the children's rights, and for every single person's rights. So thank you so much for all your efforts.
God bless you, Valerie. Thank you all so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
In June 2025, independent journalists Marketa Vakova and David Bale filmed a documentary in Tanzania. The film brought forward a number of testimonies from local underage children and their families. Their findings concerned events that had taken place during a 3-year so-called humanitarian mission carried out in their community by Czech activist Jakub Jahl. The journalists' work brought these serious accounts into the public sphere. Several months later, the journalists were contacted by a Tanzanian lawyer. After watching the film, she took on the case of a young girl named Violet. At her invitation, the journalists returned to Tanzania in October 2025 to document the progress of Violet's case. All findings regarding the legal steps taken and the changes in Violet's life were published in another documentary film, Justice for African Children. Around the same time, both journalists received an invitation to meet Pastor Mark Burns during his visit to Rome. The pastor has long taken a personal interest in the case and closely follows how certain media outlets in the Czech Republic continue to report on it. Together, they discuss the current situation in Tanzania and the wider case surrounding Jakub Jahl, whom witnesses and survivors from Tanzania, including Violet, have testified about. Pastor Burns commented on the case with the following words.
This is something that the world should not be allowing. The fact is, the world should be looking at Jacob for the atrocities that he's done to children as shutting down all finances. All bank accounts should be shut down. The Czech Republic should be shutting down all its assets, making it impossible for him to move, to buy food, to go on the run. And instead, it sounds like, based off of your preliminary reports, that the Czech Republic is protecting him. The reality of it is, Interpol should have an award for his arrest. There should be an international warrant for his arrest right now, where everyone is searching for this individual. I'm just so grateful for the work that you all have done already to help identify this evil person so that the whole world will see who he is. And the evil that they've done to these kids. We shouldn't see them as just kids, not black kids, not African kids, just kids. But unfortunately, in our society today, what took place in 1994 in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis massacring each other, and those of us in the West refused to call it a genocide because these were Africans. Had this was happening in Europe, it would have been called a genocide. We'd have been having never again speeches like when it took place in Nazi Germany. But instead, because they were Africans, Bill Clinton would not call it a genocide, nor would the U.S. government call it a genocide, because the moment they mention the word genocide, then they have to activate the United Nations into these countries, and that seemed to be something that was not a top priority for them. And so we see the same thing happening with these children that is happening in Tanzania. That these are African children, and people are not no one is raising the alarm, but you all are raising the alarm, and that's why we're having this interview today. I believe that this next documentary or this next message that's going to get out, we're putting Jacob on notice right now. Jacob needs to realize that we're not going to leave Jacob alone. We're going to continue to go after Jacob. We're going to continue to get to the bottom. I am going to make sure that everybody in the United States of America know what Jacob has done and what the Czech Republic is allowing to happen under their rule. I don't know if they know about it or not, because the relationships with the United States and the Czech Republic is pretty strong. They're one of our allies. So trust me when I tell you, Jacob, your days are numbered, sir. Trust me, we're coming after you. We're not going to stop until we get you in jail.
What would you say? What did tell us about spiritual and moral view if it is happening in the world, those cruel things?
The fact that it's happening around the world just shows the immorality of the world. The fact is that this should be a 911 emergency cry for the rest of the world. I mean, not just what happened in Tanzania with these children, but you also see what's happening in Nigeria with the fact that these Christians are being massacred and murdered, and very few people are even talking about it. Again, I truly believe it's because they are Africans. Again, we see what happened in Israel and Gaza. Evil should not be happening. People are raising the alarm for Israel, but they're not raising the alarm for Gaza. Innocent life is innocent life, regardless of who's doing the killing. And we should be screaming on the mountaintop, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their religious background, regardless of their status in the world. A life is a life. But the fact that we pick and choose which battles we as a nation, we as a world will focus on, right? And so the fact that these children in Tanzania have been ignored for the most part.
Yeah.
And now the Czech Republic is hiding this guy, Jacob. It just shows to the immorality of our world and why we are where we are. We have to have more people like you pick up the mantle, pick up the sword, pick up the cross, and say, I'm willing to fight for any and everyone, regardless of their status in life, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their religion, their financial background, their education. I will fight for them. Why? Because they're a human being.
Absolutely, thank you for those words. I absolutely agree. How should countries, at whole, how should countries react if they really follow the rule that children's best interests are the most important thing?
Well, if that really mattered, meaning that the countries will make decisions based off of the interests of the children, then they would have locked up Jacob's assets, right? Interpol would have an international warrant for his arrest. Mossad would be looking for him. Everyone, the CIA would be looking for him. He would not have a place to hide. He would be considered a terrorist. And the resources that is used to go after terrorists around the world should be used to come after Jacob. And by the time I'm done with this interview, that might be the case, Jacob. I want you to know that, because we're taking this thing very seriously. And the fact that there's big money behind it, and people are even attacking you all. They're attacking President Trump. The same people that's attacking President Trump is attacking Allege. The same people that's attacking President Trump is protecting Jacob. This is why we have to make a change. This is why we have to put a stop to this. But the reality of it is, the nation should be reacting like this. You shut down Jacob's assets. And if Jacob's assets are not being shut down, then we tariff the world out of the Czech Republic, who's supposed to be one of our partners, until they get to the bottom of finding where Jacob is and making sure that he pays for the crimes that he's done. Especially, we're talking about trafficking children.
I know you work to protect human rights and freedom. Yes. And in this situation where people often do not listen, children, how important it is for spiritual diplomats and human rights defenders to strongly support children's rights and freedom, even when it is difficult.
Jesus already gave us the example when he said, forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven, bring them unto me. He said, bring the children unto me. Don't stop them. Bring them to me. If these children, the Bible also says that God knew us before he formed us in the womb of the mother. So we already have relationships with God. God calls children blessings. And if God is calling children blessings, you are blessed when children are entering into this world. Then therefore we should treat them as God's blessings, not the least of them, but as the blessings that they are. Again, this goes back to what you said earlier. It's about whose child it is. It's not even about just the color of your skin, because there are poor white people all over the world who get treated like second-class citizens because they're uneducated. They don't come from a rich family. They don't come from an Ivy League school. They may live in the Appalachia areas of the United States of America, where in some cases they don't even have running water, and they get treated like they are nobody. The justice system treats them differently. So it's not just about the color of your skin. It's about the haves versus the have-nots. And the have-nots get treated, despite the color of your skin. Poverty knows no color. Poverty don't care what race you are. Poverty don't care where you've come from. If it hits your family, then you're going to be treated as a second-class citizen. That is wrong. That is the purpose of the spiritual diplomats, because we don't see policy. We see problems that need to be solved. We don't focus on treaties. We cross treaty lines to go and serve the less than. And I believe this is going to be the new political party. It's going to outgrow both parties in America, because I think people are tired of being on the left and the right. They need to be on the human right. I said that before. And I believe there are more people who have that mindset. The fact that Jacob has not been arrested just shows you the immorality of our world. And until and Dr. King said this before. Now, I said this. Dr. King said, it's not the cries of my enemies that hurt me. It's the silence of my friends. And that's what's happening right now with Tanzania. We got to speak for these children.
The last question is, what message of hope would you give to children who have suffered from such unfair treatment?
Find joy and peace and solace to know that God has raised up organizations like Allege, that you won't be quiet. You are vicious. You are tenacious. You will bust through every brick, every wall that's placed up against you. You will scrape through every door. If they bury you, you will crawl your way out of that grave and go find and nurse yourself back up and keep coming after injustices around the world. They should find joy that there's groups like Allege that will face any giant, and with the power and the hand of God behind them. You only need one smooth stone. God gave David more than he needed, but you only need one to knock out the Goliath. So those children who may watch this, know that there are people who do care, people who will fight, people who will get talked about negatively in the media and do not care. They would not go hiding under a rock. They will just get a microphone and they will talk louder. They will scream louder. They will chase down every demon that comes from the gates of hell. And to know that as long as there's people like the volunteers of Allege, then there's a chance that peace can come to them, because somebody cares for them. That's one of the first questions that was asked to me when I interviewed with Allege, and I discovered who you all were. And your interview just blew up all over the world. More than CNN, more than Fox News, more than MSNBC. But one of the questions that Valerie asked me was, if there's one thing I could change, what would it be? And I said, if there was one thing I could change in the world, it would be having an advocate. Every person in the world should have an advocate.
Wow.
A person like Allege that will fight for them. That young girl that's in Tanzania that I'm told now is doing better now. She's, because of you all and others that have supported her, she's now learning how to do hair. She's going to launch her own business because of you all. She didn't kill herself. She didn't give up, but she had some advocate named Allege and the other volunteers to fight for her. So if every person, from the greatest to the least, had an advocate to stand for them, then you will cure homelessness overnight. You will cure injustices overnight. You would cure, you would cure hunger overnight, because everyone will have somebody that's actually fighting for them. But the enemy knows that he can go and isolate people, especially in rural parts of the world, and try to silence their voices. So that's the hope that I'm speaking to every child that's watching this, to know that there's people out there that care, and we won't stop until you're free.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful to hear your words, and also I'm remembering the interview with this girl Violet.
Yes.
And I asked her how she feels now, and she said she thanks to God even for those horrible things, because thanks to them she found people who really care about her.
Wow.
It was very nice to hear. I of course wish for every child in the world to be protected and be safe.
Yes.
So thank you so much for your support, for your work. I really appreciate it, and I admire your effort to do good things. Thank you so much.
The best is yet to come. We won't stop until they're free.
Pastor Ban, I was looking forward to meeting you. I'm excited that this finally works. Together with me is Madam Amelinda, my Chief of Staff. And this is a beautiful beginning of what is to come and what we're going to discuss briefly and potential meeting in Washington, D.C.
Well, first of all, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much again for your a wonderful time to your Chief of Staff. So honored to meet you. Thank you so much to Alatra and Valerie and the whole entire team. These guys have been working so hard for these Tanzania children. And it blesses me so much that they're not even from there, but they put so much effort into exposing the evil that has taken place to the children, some of the innocent of Tanzania, and they've worked so hard to bring it to my attention. And of course, it's been brought to the attention of the First Lady, it's been brought to the attention of the State Department and to the President himself, just so that it's on their radar to what's actually happening, and also to communicate with the Czech Republic. So I'm very humbled and honored, Mr. Ambassador, that you're on this call.
Thank you very much. Pastor Ban, I wanted to first assure you, we do have a serious problem relating to children. Children continue to be in harm's way in certain areas. We do have call center in Tanzania recording thousands of calls from either children or parents of some kind of abuses that see children in harm's way. And sometimes it gets to thousands and thousands of calls. And we do understand that efforts are being made by some of our community members and some of the police initiatives that are taking place to make sure we do protect children. But this is an issue that we need the world attention. We need America to get involved. And you being here and having this discussion in our upcoming meeting is something that really melts my heart away. I think you and I share one thing. Protection of every child not only is important, but assures our very survival as people and as a nation.
What you're speaking my heartbeat, and you're speaking my language, Mr. Ambassador. And I'm very grateful to know that Tanzania is working so hard. Our heart goes for the thousands of children and that you all have to manage. And there's a bigger issue involved, and I am 100% excited about the future of bringing a resolve and helping in that area. I think the biggest challenge, one of the State Department, I had a meeting with the State Department who had a conversation with the Czech Republic ambassador that day, is how the gentleman was able to get out of jail. I'm told that Jakub was arrested and how he was able to get out of jail for these very crimes. And I think that's something, Mr. Ambassador, I know that you are going to find out how did this gentleman even get out so he can get back to the Czech Republic.
Pastor Burns, where we are seated right here is the city of Arusha. We are about 80 miles away from the city of Moshi, where Jakub committed these crimes. You can literally drive between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. You wouldn't be in that area. Northern part of the country, very, very beautiful area. around Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Meru, wonderful Christian communities that are thriving, but yet he was able to come as a non-predator, coming as somebody who was coming to do good, bringing money from donor communities to help children who are in need of food, shelter, clothing, you name it, just the opportunity to be loved. And they embraced him. So stories that we are hearing, and obviously this came to my attention mostly after my encounter with your assistant in Washington, D.C. I share this with the Attorney General of Tanzania, and we would like to take this further in terms of understanding, first of all, how did this happen, whether or not government itself was involved in investigation, at what level did the local police know, how did he live, did migration people know, did he get support from some local people, did he have help in the way, was corruption involved? I mean, there are a lot of questions. What I can assure you, I'm also going to bring this to the attention of President herself when I meet her on the 4th, specifically about this conversation and about the children in question. Especially, I had a chance to view really horrific video, because if you hear Swahili, then you understand the cry, the suffering that some of these children have endured. In English, translation comes a little bit less. So my assistant actually was crying. I mean, it was really very, very sad to watch. So a couple of things. One, I want to bring this to the attention of my president herself. Secondly, Attorney General will be involved in revisiting this case as far as Tanzania is concerned, whether or not they had the gentleman and the lady from Czech Republic had a conspirator or people who conspire together in our land, and what remedies that could be taken. And also to have a look at this center. I would personally plan to visit this center before coming to see you.
Well, I tell you again, this is just a blessing to me that we're hearing this. And I'm so humbled, Mr. Ambassador, for your leadership in addressing this with your Madam President, and that this has been taken very serious, because it's a message to the world that not just Tanzania, but the continent of Africa itself is not a place where you can do crimes and get away with it, and that we in the international community are watching. And if these crimes happen, we will support our brothers and sisters and partners in Africa to bring justice to anyone, no matter where they're from, to bring them the justice. And so I know that there's a case that's already open based off of the testimony of this minor Tanzania child, and even the physical examination that was done that proved that sexual abuse had occurred, that she had in turn received unwanted sexual advancement from this gentleman, from this Czech citizen. But even though the case has been opened, and I know that the problem is there's no case open in Czech Republic, and that's the pressure that we're placing on now from America. And I know that the State Department has officially inquired to the Czech Republic ambassador to start working those channels as well. And so, as when I met with them a couple of weeks ago, about 14 days ago, I think, Valerie, I think we were all about 13 days ago, that official inquiry has been made. And so it's working through both channels. I know for a fact that First Lady Melania has also been spoken to regarding this matter, because children is a big deal to her, just like what's happening in Ukraine, just like what's happening in Nigeria. That children is a real big issue, and she's fighting so hard to bring international attention to matters like this one. And so just know that we're working on our end, and we want to work with you to assist in what we can do to bring justice for those little girls, for those children, but to make sure that this person in the Czech Republic does not get away with these crimes. Because again, the world is watching. I mean, Alatra has done such an amazing job. I'm just so proud of them and so grateful of their hard work
putting that amazing documentary together, going out there and interviewing and bringing and you said it, Mr. Ambassador, there's thousands of cases like that. And so this is something that if we can really continue to work together, bringing international attention to, it's also going to draw attention to the other children who are in those same positions, and that may open up the door to some greater resources that can help these children and help the Tanzania government do what you're already doing, and that is serving your people and serving your children.
Thank you. And a couple of things. One, I really thank you for this elaboration and your heart. It really touches me very much. I want also to share a little testimony. I founded, myself and my friend, Dr. Steve Meyer from great state of Iowa, we founded here in Arusha the best, the greatest, and the well-connected children orphanage in Arusha, where we actually protect children from harms. We bring the children who have no parents, nobody to take care of them from the very, very young age. So many tourists, so many American persons from churches have come to Arusha. And this is something when you visit, I would like you to come to the area called Mbuguni to visit this. It's called STEM Children Village, STEM Village Children, whatever. They are there. So something to do with children is very close to me because I am one of the founders of this amazing village in Tanzania that has seen enormous collaboration. You heard a story a few years back that we had a very terrible bus accident. About 33 kids died, and American missionaries working with me were able to save 3 children. Only 3 survived. Together, they had broken leg, arm, neck, about 273 total broken something bone.
Wow.
So you may know this gentleman. His name is he's a Reverend Graham. If you know the son of Bill Graham.
Yes.
Franklin. I think Franklin Graham donated his plan DC-8 to come to Arusha to rescue 3 children, and these 3 children were taken to America. They were treated for 6 months. Even the girl who had her backbone broken twice, she survived. So these kids are called miracle children, and it was because of American people's generosity that they're alive today. And I want to thank them, and whenever you have a chance to thank Franklin Graham for his generosity, we are very proud. So that is something I wanted to mention, to let you know that we will work together with you, with all the resources in the government, together with the Attorney General, to help make sure the gentleman in this Jakub guy is brought to justice. We can send witness, whatever, in America or in Czech Republic. Also, the government will also aid in getting additional testimony from people who were there before, so that we can make sure this particular one incident is solved in a way that nobody anywhere in the world will dare to do what this guy did.
And I tell you, that blesses my heart, Mr. Ambassador, and I know Franklin Graham, and I most definitely will pass on, your message to him. And I could say that blesses my heart significantly. Before we go, it will bless me a lot if, and I know you're going to be working with Madam President. I know you're going to be working with the Attorney General, and I know that if the media in Tanzania can really beef up this case and draw as much attention to it, that helps people like us who are on our end to say the official government, the official stance of this outcry, and what Jakub has done represents the thousands of other children that may not have a voice. They didn't meet a lecturer. They don't have an ambassador. They don't have Madam President or the Attorney General that knows about their case. Not that they don't care about it. They just don't know. We are representing them right now. They don't have a Pastor Mark Burns. And so we're representing them. And so if in regards to the child protection systems that are being strengthened. Because this, again, as I said earlier, the whole international community is watching us, and they're watching this, and other people around the world are that Electra is letting to know what's happening. They're watching what's happening, what the Tanzania government is going to do, what the country of Tanzania is going to do, what the Czech Republic is going to do. And obviously, my job as a spiritual diplomat, and I'm so grateful, Ms. Ambassador, that you'll be joining us in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Capitol. You're going to be a blessing to so many with your presence. Come as a spiritual diplomat, because that's what we do. We go where treaties cannot go, and we go where we don't carry weapons. We carry the word and wisdom. And so you are a absolutely spiritual diplomat, and we'd be so honored to have you there. But having the Tanzania government really, the media draw attention to this from your national point of view, launching these public investigations as to how Jacob got out, because that's the question that the State Department and others have asked. How did he get out of jail? And so we're able to address these matters, and we're able to show how serious that the country of Tanzania, the beautiful country of Tanzania, which I have yet to come. So I hope I will be able to come and visit your beautiful nation.
You're going to be my guest. You're going to be Melinda's guest. You're going to be many people's guest. And just to say, I think you're going to have a friend in me. I mean, children do matter. I do have 2 of my own children.
Amen.
And I know how that means when they're happy. And one of the reasons why Dr. Steve Meyer, whom I will introduce to you very soon, and I really created this STEM village that is the best in the entire country of Tanzania to protecting children, to give them lives. We educate them. We get them up to university. So this is a story that we've lived for so many years. And Moshi and where our STEM village is like 25 minutes drive. So I will personally go visit. Secondly, we will bring this to the national media in Tanzania. I will lead the lead. I will be the lead person in making sure it is. We will share the links when that happens and soon. And before I come, we will have articles writing about this particular story of these children as to how it happened. And one more last point that I wanted to say. When we meet in Washington, I want us to discuss about these children and how else we can work together in ways that can protect their lives, but in ways that can bring those responsible, especially the story of guy. Maybe he has collaborators in Tanzania. We would like to know there are people working together with him, predators. We would like them to face justice. And my last point is I would like also you to think about this. Recently, we've had articles that, what's happening in Nigeria right now.
Mm-hmm.
The sad stories that are happening in Nigeria about Christian persecution and those who cause harm and those who kill and persecute Christians in the country of Nigeria. There were stories around the same things happening in this part of the world, especially in Tanzania, where we had, I think, in the last couple of months, that one church was closed because of something to do with politics, whatever that it was. And since then, the government had moved to make sure whoever did that was taken to the account. And secondly, no church in Tanzania, no single denomination, small or big, no pastor can be refused to preach the word. No pastor can be refused to speak their opinion, whatever they are, to make sure that Tanzania has a greatest potential when it comes to religious freedom. And this is something I want to share with you when I come. I'm going to be bringing you a letter signed by a number of pastors. They are writing a letter to you. I told them to write. Pastors and bishops writing. They will be signing a letter that attests to the commitment of this country. It is the message I would like you to send it to our beloved President, Donald J. Trump. We have a lot of things to work, but on the issue of religious persecution, we have sent it strong to make sure evangelization, the freedom of worship, freedom of expression, the freedom of religion and religious affiliation is absolutely guarded in this country. And this is something that we may have other things, but you can come to Tanzania right now. I just want to give you a final example. Senator Guzman, you may know Senator Guzman from Arkansas. His daughter came to stay with me here in Tanzania.
Wow.
And his assistant, his chief of staff, actually, deputy chief of staff is a lady, had visited Tanzania, stayed in my city for 1 year. And when she read the article about Tanzania, she's like, that is the place I love. She built a home in Arusha, of her own home. So we have a lot of things to share, but Africa is not the same. If you go to Sudan, you go to Somalia, you go to Central African Republic, Christians are going through some of the toughest time. And we can work together to address some of those issues. Tanzania being your focal point, where we can hold each other. And we would like to work with Trump administration. That's what I wanted to say very, very strongly. If I can meet you, it will be the joy of my heart.
I will be so humbled and beyond words, Mr. Ambassador, to meet you and to meet your Madam President and to meet all of the wonderful people of Tanzania. And I'm just so grateful. Valerie, thank you so much. Alatra, Marina, the whole entire team. You guys are absolutely amazing for making this happen. And Alatra, let's keep up the fight. And Mr. Ambassador, I look forward to welcoming you and humbling you, been humbled to greet you in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Capitol at the Spiritual Diplomacy Conference, International Conference. Belinda, I hope to get to meet you too. I know you hope that you'll be with our dear beloved ambassador.
Looking forward to meeting you, Teresa. Absolutely.
Valerie, last words, precious.
Yes, it was just such an amazing discussion. Thank you so much. You're, just so amazing, and I really feel so blessed, and I really feel so much, hopeful for the children. So, and that's the most important thing. And thank you so much for your actions and for your hearts. And looking forward to see you in Washington, D.C.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.